Sometimes having my head down covering PSVR2 games for a living means I'm clueless about all the other non-VR games that have popped up on the PlayStation Store over the last decade or so. So when I heard that House of Da Vinci VR was coming to PlayStation VR2, I was pretty shocked to find out that House of Da Vinci is an existing flat-screen series, and there's 3 of these games on PlayStation 5, with the spiritual sequel called The House of Tesla coming out later this year. And now that I've played House of Da Vinci VR, I'm hopeful that the rest of the series will get the VR treatment too, because for puzzle game fans out there, you're not going to want to miss this one. As the House of Da Vinci starts off, you find yourself overlooking a beautiful canal in Florence. You hear the sounds of the water rushing below the bridge, the sun has just started to set, casting a gold hue against all the buildings and walkways, and a flock of birds who are gathered nearby take flight as the orchestra swells in the background. It's beautiful enough for me to ignore the reprojection. I just wanted to take in every last detail, wander around, and explore every dark corner for collectibles. The problem is that you can't. There's no full locomotion, and there are no collectibles. Like the Room VR before it, the House of Da Vinci VR relies on node-to-node teleportation, allowing you to only stand in front of people or places of interest. This is immersion breaking enough for people like me who'd rather be able to walk around freely. But the more you play House of Da Vinci, the more the game seems to have issues positioning the player properly, often teleporting me way too close to the puzzle that I'm working on, forcing me to either take a step back in real life or recalibrate by holding the options button. And I'm not totally sure if I should play this seated or standing. There are options for both, but neither one is 100% comfortable. If you're sitting, expect to have to sit at the edge of your seat to reach essential items. And if you're standing, there's no crouch button, so be prepared to do that in real life whenever necessary. And these environments aren't that big. I mean, it's very clear where the puzzles are and where the devs want you to be, which has me hoping for both full locomotion and the crouch button if House of Da Vinci 2 ever makes its way to VR. That's enough complaining for now, though. Let's get to the good stuff. Da Vinci's apprentice, you're called to Florence just to find out that he's gone missing. So you set out through a series of puzzle rooms in order to find him. And that's kind of the whole story here. Every so often you'll find scrolls and letters that offer up just a little bit more information, but the story here is surprisingly minimal, which didn't matter to me in the least. I'm here for the puzzles. And fortunately, that's what House of Da Vinci is. Non-stop puzzles from beginning to end, with very little else that gets in the way. And there's some decent puzzles too that feel surprisingly different from other puzzle games we've encountered in VR. And I think a lot of that comes from how you interact with everything in this world. You find important items to stash in your inventory, but unlike the Room VR, I Expect You to Die, or the Seventh Guest, you'll need to take a closer look at these items before figuring out where they go. Most of them have secrets, things to turn or open or slide or move before they become viable puzzle solutions, and your hand will react accordingly. If there's something to interact with, your other fingers will go down, leaving just the pointer finger, indicating there's something to do. And this also applies to the puzzles themselves. Sliding or rotating pieces with the tip of your finger means that the interactions here feel more, delicate than in most games. And the accompanying haptics here really sell the interactions. Everything in these lockboxes are connected with gears to an almost steampunk degree, so getting to feel every movement, thunk, and click in the controllers is pretty satisfying. And usually this works great, but your fingers will occasionally slip off surfaces instead of connecting like they would in real life. But even bringing this up feels like I'm nitpicking. The puzzles are elaborate, often resorting to just finding the right key for the right hole, or variations on puzzles we've seen before. But just as often, they feel completely new and original. I wouldn't call any of the puzzles here particularly difficult, and even if you get stuck now and then, you should be able to get through it all and roll credits in 5 to 7 hours, depending on how good you are at this type of stuff. Usually just looking around and making sure you've examined all of your inventory items yields at least some kind of progress. But if you get stuck, the hint system is super simple, and with the push of a button, you'll be told how to move forward. Despite hitting this button a few times on accident, I did avoid this as much as possible, because although I liked having the option, the hints just give you the solution, instead of telling you why that's the solution. A tiered system to nudge you in the right direction before telling you the answer would have been so much better. And even though the game introduces detective vision, or whatever they call it here, early on, along with a minor time manipulation ability, which allows you to see Da Vinci solving a puzzle in each room, it's easy to forget that you have these abilities. It's a facepalm moment every time I'm spinning my wheels, not understanding how some lock mechanism works, and then I switch on detective vision, and the answer is practically staring me in the face. On a recent episode of Gamescast Live, someone pointed out that every time I talk about the Room VR Dark Matter, I hyper-focus on the node-to-node teleportation, essentially the one thing I didn't like about the game, instead of talking about the atmosphere, brilliant puzzles, music, and all the other reasons I loved it and gave it a great score. And that sucks, but it also points to what I'm looking for personally in a VR game. I want as much immersion as possible, and while the House of Da Vinci's movement feels limited in the same way as the Room VR and might be what I talk about for years to come anytime someone brings up the game in conversation, the developers over at Blue Brain Games infused the House of Da Vinci on PSVR2 with enough great puzzles and enough unique VRAF interactions that I felt plenty immersed during my time with it, making it easy to recommend, at least for all you puzzle game fans out there.